goodness.
The carrier pigeon finally?
It was kind of carrier pigeonish. Kenny, would you call it carrier pigeonish?
I would call it Zuckerbird. Zuckerbird. Yeah, Zuckerbird. It's delivered by the Zuckerbird.
Hello, and welcome everyone to episode 152 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation Andy's going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Kenny and Steven.
You threw me for one there. I'm not going to be part of the conversation.
You are the conversation.
You are the conversation. Oh, no. How are you?
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good evenings. Good evening.
Hello.
I do.
So how are you both doing?
Fantastic.
Steven, have you been on any barrel picks lately?
Several.
What? Could you expand upon your barrel picks, please?
Sure. I went to Kroger.
Okay.
And I got a...
Did you get an extra aged Worcester sauce?
I did.
Sauce?
Yeah.
There you go.
It was barrel strength.
They age that in barrels, right?
Sure.
I think they do. Yeah. No, I was just joking because
Rubbing it in my face, Kenny.
Yeah, right.
Rubbing it in my face.
Yeah, no, I'm not, because listen.
He's the rich kid with the Reebok pump ups, and he's bragging about it.
Hey, growing up, I had the knockoffs, man. I had some LA Gear pumps growing up, so don't you start.
And I bet they lit up, didn't they?
They didn't light up, but they were cheap, man. I think I remember pumping them up one time, jumping off something out there in recess, and then just popping. The thing popped out of it. So, yeah. I had the LA Gear pumps, whatever those are called. So anyway,
I shopped in the Husky section at Hills.
At Hills?
You know Hills?
Oh, yeah, bro.
Oh, bro, man. We had a Hills in Warren, Ohio. Yeah.
Those slushies.
Yeah.
And that popcorn.
Hills was a hell of a department store. Any experience with Hills, Steven?
Did they have one in town?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Where was it?
It's over, they had South Park and North Park. So South Park was over like where Best Buy area is.
Yeah.
Just to the right of Best Buy. North Park was just up there in North Park, where I think it's like there's a Walmart up there now.
I think
right?
so, yeah. I know for us, my Hills was in a plaza where after it was Hills, it became Kmart. So like Hills predated Kmart in some locations, and then Kmart went out and Walmart came in right in others. Yeah. So man, Hills was banger. That's I still have some toys that I've kept that have a Hills price tag on them.
That's awesome.
Price tag?
Yeah, like stuff I never took out of the box when
Come
I was a kid.
eBay pretty soon.
Yeah. We have it on eBay, but hey,
vintage eBay toys.
There you go. But I was joking about barrel picks because Kenny gets to go on a whole lot of them, and you and I don't get to go on as many. But recently, I was actually the beneficiary of somebody backing out at Jackson's Wine and Spirits. So it's funny. It's a running joke between, I've talked on here on the podcast before about Jackson Wine and Spirits here in Lexington. They're great people, family-owned business. Eric and John, father, son. And they always joke with me. They're like, you can't ever come on any barrel picks, so we don't invite you no more. And I'm like, no, you guys will tell me like, hey, we got a barrel pick on Wednesday. And I'm like, I gotta work, bro. Like I can't just take off.
It's Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
It's like Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And they're like,
one on Wednesday.
well, we got a barrel pick on Wednesday. And I'm like, no way. And so this time I was in there like the week prior, and they said we have somebody back out for a barrel pick the following week at Wild Turkey. And I looked at my schedule and I was like, oh my God, I have nothing in person on my schedule for Monday morning. Like I'm in. And so I got a chance to go to pick a barrel of what Russell's single barrel at Wild Turkey. And that was, I've been on tours at Wild Turkey, but I've never had the experience before. And I think it was Grant that took care of us. That's
Grant.
Grant. Mm-hmm. And it was just a great experience, right? I was with the folks that I went on to pick with were great. John, he didn't drink, but he came with us. And there was, I think, 5 of us there. We tasted, and we all kind of came to consensus on one barrel, and we got to taste 6. But it was a great experience. And then we talked a lot about the time we got to go to Four Roses, but I'm putting Wild Turkey up there as my second now. I think that was the second best barrel pick experience I've been on. And I really enjoyed it. And I was really thankful that Jackson's let me go on that pick with them. So, yeah.
When can we buy this bottle?
Well, I don't know how long Kenny probably knows how long does it take to get a Wild Turkey pick.
It'll be a
come
little
through
while.
Distribution, probably a couple months, maybe 6 months, 5, 6 months.
Yeah. Probably like 4 to 6 months.
4 or 6 months, okay.
Russell's and Wild Turkey is my favorite pick.
Really?
Yeah.
What makes it your favorite? That's a good thing because like I was definitely like taken in by like
but
the fact that I'm in the warehouse, it's kind of chilly in there. It's just.
But here's the thing: I've done 3 Russell's picks when Bruce was there, and I've done one Russell's pick when it was with Grant.
Okay.
And Grant was knowledgeable, good, cool guy. If my only experience was a Russell's pick when Grant was there,
right,
compared to the Four Roses, I would go with my Four Roses, like you said, as being your favorite.
Okay.
It's just something about, and that, like, it's not Grant at all, dude. It is not that at all. It's Bruce. It's having, Russell's family member, just there, and he's telling stories and talking about Eddie and talking about Jimmy and just that whole environment, man. So, but no, if you have a chance to do a Russell's pick or a Four Roses pick, that's one that doesn't matter if your schedule is clear. You actually call in sick that day or do something like dead serious. Those are the two, man. Those are the two. Those are the two. That's the two, man. So yeah, you just got to call in sick.
Yeah, no.
Chalk it up, man. I've got a Knob Creek pick coming up.
You do?
I do.
Nice.
And I've also got to go check on my barrel at Old Louisville. It's turned 11 years old now.
Oh,
so,
what are you gonna bring? A cake?
Candles, happy birthday.
Maybe some slippers.
I actually do play music.
Leather loafers, maybe.
I actually have music.
Do you have music playing?
Music playing.
Like
heavy bass.
Just like Metallica.
Yeah.
Like Blackened.
Blackened.
That's what you're doing.
No, it is. I do.
That means got speakers set up around your barrel. Ken, your barrel has 2 live crew playing around, doesn't it?
Oh, me so Woody. Me so Oki. Oh, me so Oki.
We're leaving that in there. That's not
I
getting
get
cut.
you drunk in a short time.
$5 post.
Oh yeah, that's all staying in there, and even me saying it's staying in there, staying in there.
Yeah, it's all good.
Oh man, well, I hope that we get the chance to pick more barrels in the future. And Steven, I'm trying to think. You've been on Four Roses. Have you been on any other picks besides that one?
Nope.
That's the only one you've ever been on. So now, if I get asked again to go on a pick, I'm going to be gracious and say, especially if it's that stuff we tasted during April Fool's episode, I'm going to let you go on that pick. If anybody says they're going to Pennsylvania to do a pick, I'm going to say, I got just the guy.
Yeah. So after that episode, tonight's bottle had to be a totally 100% sealed, or else they would not trust me. So.
Yeah. I was like,
funny.
oh my God, poor New Riff. Could you imagine if somebody from New Riff actually listened to that episode? They'd be like, oh,
and they stopped listening because they got so upset.
Like, oh man, these guys are crazy.
I should have video going to see y'all's face, because I saw y'all looking at each other while you were just nosing it, not even tasting it. And while you're nosing your eyes, you were like, oh, like your eyes were so big, like, holy crap, what is
I just
going
could
on?
not believe what the hell I was nosing
so
there. That was
good.
bad. Yeah, that was yeah, you got us good, but that was a nightmare. So anyway, well, yes, we definitely have a sealed bottle for tonight.
So guys, I saw this week we had a shout out through Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. And it came in kind of an unexpected way. So I got to explain this.
The carrier pigeon filing?
It was kind of carrier pigeonish. Kenny, would you call it carrier pigeonish?
I would call it Zuckerbird. Yeah, Zuckerbird. It was delivered by the Zuckerbird.
It was Zuckerbird sponsored. So Bourbon Real Talk, which is a very large community, they got like 30,000 followers. Bourbon Real Talk is a podcast / YouTube show / Facebook community from Randall Sullivan, who does some great things. And he tries to be a very welcoming person. And so...
Oh, very welcoming.
Yeah, super welcoming.
Dude,
has like a lot of rules.
I was in that group for probably less than 6 hours. And I got DM'd by several admins. Because...
What'd you say?
I was just giving people a hard time because they were like, they were total turds.
Anthony?
Yeah.
No, they were just like literally turds, and they're saying, like, asking some of the dumbest questions, saying some of the dumbest things.
Yeah.
And I wasn't being like rude.
Right.
But I was just like being sarcastically to them. And man, I like, it was, I had to put on the kid gloves to be in that group.
So this was not a safe space, I take it, huh?
No, that's what they were doing. They actually wanted it to be a very safe space.
Kenny ruined the safe space is what happened.
Yeah.
And so in Bourbon Real Talk, a listener by the name of Eric, I don't know if it's Grillio or Grilliot, like it's almost like G with Elliot, right? Yep. He posted on Bourbon Real Talk, anyone else love listening to bourbon podcasts? Here are some of my favorites, and a few I follow. Anyone have a good one they enjoy? I'm not aware of, ? And I saw this and I looked at the list. He had took screenshots of his follow-up.
Yeah.
And there we are.
Yeah.
There's our logo, Mashup Podcast, next to Journey Drinkers, Mossick, Bourbon Pursuit, other well-known podcasts. And I was like, man, this is crazy. And so when I saw that, I immediately, because I'm in Bourbon Real Talk, I posted hey, man, thanks for listening, or something along the lines of that. And I immediately texted both of you about it and was like, this is crazy. I can't believe that, this guy's listening to us, just because it's a very flattering thing to have the listenership that we do. And then the conversation went from there. But
I just posted on there. It's awesome. Thank you for listening. And
right.
I'm kind of fortunate to be on 2 of the podcasts that are listed on there.
Right. Exactly.
And then I just said, hey, if you would like to have a certain bottle reviewed, man, just let us know.
Right. Exactly.
And same thing to all our listeners. If you have some bottles that you want reviewed, you're not sure about, shoot us a message on that, because I'm always interested in trying new things.
Right. And then the other funny thing was, so I love the fact that people you could tell they're listeners of the podcast, right?
What were they saying?
He posted in the one thing when Kenny said, hey, when he got into the conversation, he said, Kenny MFN Mills.
That's what Mossick calls
what Mossick calls him on Journey Drinkers all the time. He said, don't tell Anthony, but you make the mashup what it is. He said, also, Journey Drinkers has become one of my favorites for sure. And of course, he did that because just earlier in the conversation, one thread up, I was the one answering. I commented.
Right.
So he did that to rile me up, of course. And I posted hey, now. I'm like, I'm still here. I heard that or something. And it was a fun little back and forth. So, man, we really appreciate you posting that picture and saying that we're one of the podcasts that you listen to. It means a lot to us. And we just really wanted to acknowledge you and say thank you for that.
Definitely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Boom.
Boom.
And if you'd like a shout out, just leave us a review on Facebook, Instagram, Carrier Pigeon.
There you go.
Apple.
And we'll get to you.
Apple or pear.
Bottom jeans. Boots.
Fur.
Well,
boys, for this week, we have another Frankfurt distillery to review.
All right.
For this week, we have a Glens Creek OCD number 5.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. OCD number 5. What is this? So the Glens Creek OCD number 5 comes to us from Glens Creek Distilling in Frankfort, Kentucky. The bottle date is 2024. The ABV is 51. Proof is 102. The mash bill is 87% corn, 8% rye, and 5% malted barley. The MSRP is $69.99. I don't know why I did that. Just having some fun. But yeah, I'm really interested because unlike most episodes, I'm literally coming into this one with zero knowledge other than that OCD looks like it's in a Stag Junior bottle.
That is true.
Yeah. I mean, that looks Stag Junior bottle. Looks like a short Bull Run bottle. I think it's dead on Stag Junior probably.
We still call it Junior because even though Buffalo Trace has dropped it to Stag, we're never doing that. We're not calling it Stag. We're going to call it Stag Junior forever. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like the cork on this bad boy.
Oh, yeah?
It's made of nylon.
The cork stands out.
And it's a black synthetic inside, kind of like New Riff.
Okay.
It's great.
It's grippy.
Yeah.
You can grip the top easy.
It's like nylon, Teflon, whatever you want to call it.
Looks like it's ribbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can really get in there with it.
It's kind of pleasurable to pull that cork out.
Ribbed for your pleasure.
Wayne's World?
Yeah. That was good. So, other than that cork where we got a little off base there, I think the label to me is simple, but it's a little bit busy as well.
You know what
what does it remind you of?
You know what the writing reminds me of?
What?
You know that wine brand like Crime 19 or
or
whatever it is with like Snoop Dogg on it?
Yeah.
It reminds me of that face.
Okay.
Or it looks like something you would look on the Travel Channel, like paranormal, like ghost hunter search.
Right.
That's what it looks like.
Well, one other thing that's happened with this bottle, and you guys might not know this, but I have a bottle of syrup in my refrigerator. We have to make sure we don't give the kids because it's barrel-aged syrup, right?
Yes.
And it's in a bottle that looks just like this, but this kind of reminds me of pancakes. For some reason, when I look at it, I'm like, pancakes. I don't know why.
Wait, can we time out? What do you
Did
mean
you get that at
barrel-aged?
Costco?
What do you mean barrel-aged
There's no
syrup?
time out. bro.
Barrel-aged maple syrup. There's no time out. It's barrel-aged maple syrup.
Yeah.
Like it's maple syrup aged in a bourbon barrel. And so therefore, it says residual
We used to
alcohol.
get it at
could be in
Costco
there.
a few times. That
Yeah,
was really
exactly.
good.
It's proofed?
It's got
No,
a little bit of. It's not
proof, but it says that it can contain alcohol, so I
Yeah.
want to give it to the kids. But this, like for some reason, reminds me of maple syrup.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I don't know. There you go. We don't even time out. We went right through that timeout.
So this is like proofed Aunt Jemima then, right?
There you go. Actually, they did away with Aunt Jemima, didn't they? Is the syrup still a brand?
I think so. I think they did.
we'll have to-
Oh, just the name.
Cancel.
Oh, just,
yeah.
okay,
it's-
just-
they
culture.
canceled Aunt Jemima.
why does Kenny bring this up?
Kenny knows better.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, it's an interesting bottle. It kind of looks a little bit. We make all the comments, but it looks a little bit amateurish.
It almost looks like one of those mystery game files that has little clues in it.
Right.
Like
Right.
looks like it's a typewriter typed.
Yeah, it does a little bit. It's interesting though. It catches my eye. Just
Definitely catches the eye. I
Yeah,
think.
in a weird way.
Yeah, like what is this goofy thing?
Yeah. Actually, the last thing I'm going to say too is there's a beer brand in Pennsylvania called Weyerbacher that I used to drink a lot. Weyerbacher Distillery, and their labels look kind of like this as well. And so it looks like a craft beer brand. That's another thing it reminds me of. Yeah.
It's a big bottle.
Big bottle though. Yeah. Definitely not just craft beer in there. So there you go. So, gentlemen's, I know literally zero about Glens Creek Distilling. So I'm hopefully one of you will school me to the game here because I don't know a whole lot about it.
Man, I know nothing other than what I just read a few hours ago. Back when I messaged you about this bottle.
Sounds like a typical night on the mashup.
Well, so what had happened was a gentleman from another state that he and I had traded a few samples and bottles and stuff. He asked if I'd been to Glens Creek Distillery because,
Okay.
you know, we live, 30 minutes from there? 35,
Right.
40 minutes?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I haven't. And he's like, well, this OCD number 5 premium, they called it, just won some tournament, some this and that, some award or something. And so I looked up, I didn't catch on to the premium part at first. So I just looked up OCD number 5.
Okay.
And it showed they had it at the distillery. You know, it's 4 o'clock, rush hour traffic. And then I looked up and saw that Anthony's favorite place had it. So
They did.
I went by the little Total Wine and grabbed it.
Oh my God.
Well, I say I grabbed it. Anthony grabbed it based on the phone number that was used.
If you did it, if you did that again, I'm coming after you.
How much further until he becomes like a premier member there?
Dude, he is getting close. He's getting close to being a grand reserve.
Yeah. Grand reserve of having not stepped into the store for almost 4 years. 4-year anniversary coming up.
No, but so then I was messaging back with that guy, and he's like, then that's when I realized premium versus regular. So premium is some $150 bottle that they put out.
Okay.
This was like $69.99. But I knew nothing about it. But when I picked the bottle up at the store, the first thing that I saw instantly, I was like, wow, this is awesome. So what is on the back of the label? So
Okay.
OCD number 5.
Yep.
Glens Creek is located at the shut down Old Crow Distillery.
Oh, that's cool.
So OCD,
A lot of history there.
OCD Old Crow Distillery.
Oh, nice.
And number
I literally thought it was just an obsessive compulsive disorder.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
I
I
had
thought
no
maybe
idea.
like they took meticulous, went into crafting the whiskey and they're like, we want to call us OCD because we spent years on this.
I know. And
I couldn't get past the recipe.
I tried to blend, but I couldn't. Anyway, sorry.
no, you're
Katie.
good, man. But the only thing I didn't realize, they've been distilling since 2015.
Really?
What?
I know nothing about them. I've never had anything from them at all whatsoever. Zero.
Right.
And
And-
you haven't either.
I have never had anything from them. The only experience that I think I have, just a quick sidebar, was one time my wife had a friend from law school who came down here with his friends for a bachelor party, and I think they said they stopped at Glens Creek and he enjoyed the experience. And when she said, "Have you ever heard of that?" I said, "Nope."
Yeah, never.
And that was it. I was like, I wasn't even curious about it after
Right.
that. I'm like, I'm glad he had a good experience. I'm like, But that was, of course, it was years ago. But go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
Well, so the OCD number 5, and I was like, what's that mean? It says the bourbon in this bottle is truly unique and one of a kind, using dormant yeast captured from fermenting tank number 5 at the old distillery.
Okay.
Okay.
We handcraft our spirits similar to the popular bourbon Dr. James Crowe made in the 1830s. This bourbon is named after the special yeast that remained in hiding for 30 years.
Whoa. So like,
So
that's pretty interesting.
When I first read that, I'm like, oh man, this might be great. But if it was that great, I wouldn't have heard of it before. So I don't know. And then they had another Glens Creek sitting next to this that did not say the OCD.
Okay.
I looked on the back of it and it said distilled in Indiana. So they are sourcing
they
some
sourcing
from
some
MGP
stuff.
for something else.
Well, what's interesting to me? I'm thinking about the fact that so Old Crow is owned by Jim Beam now, right? That labeling of Old Crow is a Jim Beam brand.
Jim Beam.
So I wondered if that's like a big thing for them to say Old Crow, because I feel like if Diageo owned Jim Beam, they'd be trying to sue over them mentioning Old Crow on the back, right?
Yeah.
Can they say that they scraped some yeast from the dormant yeast from the tanks? I mean, I guess it's okay. They probably would have been sued already, but I'm not trying to give anybody ideas either. I'm just saying it just shows you Jim Beam is probably a little bit better of a group maybe when it comes to that kind of stuff than others.
Now, the second paragraph on the back label.
Oh, you ready for this one, Steven?
Well, that's where it took a downturn for me.
Oh, okay. All right. Why? What happened?
Let's see here.
By the way, I love to have you doing this and not me, because it's just, I love hearing what's coming next. I want to be surprised by it.
I'd be surprised too, because I don't know what I'm saying.
This is where you find out Kenny can't read either. I know I can't.
I want the dumb bar, dog. Right. Dumb bar.
Proud to, hey, can't read, can't write, can't state.
There you go. Tony.
Tony.
All right.
Hey, Tony.
The fermented mash is distilled in special triple distillation pot still. So they lost me at pot still.
Yeah, pot still.
So they had me at the 30-year dormant yeast.
Nice.
So that was, to me, that could be something super special.
Okay.
Now, also what's wild is I did read a couple websites about it, and a couple of those websites described it as a quote-unquote wild yeast that was brought back.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I guess just like some other places talk about going and grabbing yeast off of trees.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any way to truly know, is this legit the yeast from them, like the old school original, or is it just some other plants that were growing in this abandoned fermenting tank and now it's a different yeast? But, so the plot thickens.
Okay. I like that.
And then I just, then once we started getting into it with the mash bill, that's where it took another downturn for me.
Uh-oh. So we got
87% corn, man. Come on now.
87%
87.
corn. That's a lot of corn.
That's too much corn. You get a lot of rye malted barley is where you get a lot of that flavor from, man.
Right.
So corn's a cheap filler. So I'm interested to try it because I've never had anything of there at all. But I love the story about finding the yeast from years
that
ago.
is a good story.
But the thing is, I mean, is it the real yeast? I hope. Or is it just some other plants were growing there and that's the yeast they found?
That's funny.
No.
Hey.
I think it's the original yeast because they did say dormant yeast.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if it was like off a live, fresh plant, then,
Right.
So the thing is, though, if it really is old school dormant yeast, if I was Heaven Hill, if I was somebody who started a distillery,
Right.
I'd be going and trying to buy this yeast, man.
Isn't that kind
old
of
school, like National Distiller, Old Crow stuff back in the day? Holy
Right.
crap, man. Off the charts.
Isn't that kind of what they're trying to capture at Buffalo Trace with using E.H. Taylor's fermentation tanks and all that stuff? They're trying to like create some kind of old school stuff. Isn't that what the idea is? I mean, maybe not be driven by yeast, but like they're like, oh, we got bourbon Pompeii, and now we're going to take the same tanks and everything that E.H. Taylor was using to ferment stuff.
Based on Daniel Weller Emmer wheat, I think they're just going for the quote unquote money grab. That's what I think. A bunch of wonderful people up there.
Cash grab. Hey, where you going? I'm going to get some yeast.
You turn into Mossick. You sat back from the table and yelled. I'm proud of you.
It just made me feel like I want to go run out in the wild with my with very little clothing on to gather yeast.
Go to the tater barn.
I will tell you, after just learning about this today, I do want to go visit the place.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go visit and just kind of check it out.
Yeah. I'm guessing Glens Creek is named Glens Creek because like there's Glens Creek. It's got nothing to do with an owner or anything else, right?
Just geographically next to a
Yeah,
creek.
it's probably-
Just next to a creek that's called Glens Creek. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because the owner is David Meyer,
Yeah.
not
Not Glenn.
not Glenn.
It's not David's Creek.
Well, should we go for our first nosing?
That sounds like a delicious idea.
Much better than the April Fool's bottom.
Well, this is rich.
Yeah, I was going to say that's like a deep caramel nose.
No kidding.
Ooh. Very
So
deep caramel.
pot still, column still.
Yep. What do you know, sir?
Not enough as I am going to actually do a lot more like nerdy deep dive into it.
Right.
But the only thing I've had that I can think of that I love or like that is pot still is like Irish. So I don't know of any bourbon. Is there any bourbon that you've had that is pot still that's great? I can't think of any off the top of my head.
You know what's funny? I'm not typically a pot still fan. And
Everything I've tried is not very good.
Yeah, we've been one of our. If you want to go back in time, we recommend the Willet Pot Still episode where we had a field day talking about how much we loved that bottle but hated the actual stuff inside of it. So yeah, we have a long history on the podcast and I think in life of not liking pot still distillate bourbons. So yeah,
I haven't had anything that I like. I
Yeah.
love my pot still Irish, and those are like triple pot stilled, and this says triple.
It's just triple, yeah.
this is legit Werther's original caramel
It's
coming off
rich.
the nose, like
super-
very nice.
Well, so
like a caramel sweater.
it is,
I haven't
though.
said it in a while.
It's cookie. It's cookie.
Yeah, cookies.
Yeah.
cookie
No,
crisp.
you're right with caramel. But this,
Yeah,
well, so
super
earlier I
sweet.
started looking up a little bit about column versus pot still.
Yep.
And one thing that this is just one website.
icing.
So
That's what it is. Icing.
icing.
Icing?
Okay.
Yeah.
just one website said, generally speaking, pot stills create richer and more flavorful spirits, while column stills are preferred for more neutral spirits.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to deep dive with a few of my like big time. I got a few friends actually that are actually master distillers that I became friends with. I'm going to talk to them more about this stuff, but it's I just, even though that statement there, I mean, I can't think of any bourbon I've had that I actually like that is pot stilled. So I'm gonna have to figure out why this website said that statement.
And maybe tonight things will change, but you know, we've taken to nosing different ways, and if you do tilt this glass on the side and nose it a little bit more, you do get a little bit of breadiness. And when I say breadiness I often associate with grain. That's the only time I get the grain, but like just there's a little bit of ethanol, but it's got a nice nose, and I appreciate that whole soliloquy, if you will, of pot still versus column still. And I want to investigate more too. I want to learn more. I just want to be here.
Now the thing is, what you say neutral spirits, but here's the
good
thing.
episode.
But here's the thing. Think about a lot of these bourbons and what make them different and better is the yeast. It is the wood,
Right.
and they want to create some consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So when you pot still too, that is done per batch. So you have to like clean it each time and all that. When you column still, you just continuously run it. So, but you can, I guess, potentially get more consistency also with a column still, and then their yeast and their where they store them at, where their rick houses are located, the wood being used. That's what creates a lot of that. But I want to dig deeper into that. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
it's because because I haven't had a pot still bourbon I like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, should we go for our first taste
let's do it.
of this triple pot?
Well, this
Sounds
nose
like a
was good.
Great idea.
That was
Yeah,
really
the
good,
nose
yeah.
is really good. I like that. Moment of truth incoming.
That's good.
Okay.
Pretty low key.
I can just, based on this taste, man, I think if he changed his mash bill, he'd have a winner.
Right.
I don't know why he's been making the same mash bill since 2015. He should have flipped it up. Less corn, more malted barley and rye.
So when you say less corn, sir, why are you saying less corn? Because I was going to just come right out and say the one thing that I like about this is it's creamy, but it's creamy, corny, creamy, like, and it almost turns a corner of being a little bit like, you know how we talk about tasting the grain?
Yeah.
This is very corn forward.
I know.
Like,
That's what I'm saying.
And I've had more offensive corn. Like sometimes you get a burnt corn note in
Yeah.
bourbon. This is not burnt corn, but it's like a cream corn. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I really like that. flavor.
Yeah, this is just too much corn. But it's not bad still. But I could really see this being pretty good if he changes mash bill up. I don't know if they have. Maybe they've changed the mash bill and have that stuff aging. I have no idea. Like I know nothing about this. I know nothing about them. I know literally as of just a couple hours ago, knew nothing even about them. But it's not bad. But I could see it being way better.
Now, finish on it too turns a little bit. It fades from the sweetness that you get from the corn and the caramel that you're getting, and it fades into like a little bit of alcohol on the finish. Like it gets hotter through the sip. In my opinion,
this isn't age stated either, though. So who knows how old this is?
Right. No, and I'm not dogging it. I'm not.
But another reason I want to go up there and visit too is this is 102 proof.
Right.
So is this 140 watered down to 102?
Oh wow. Yeah.
Is this 110 bottled, watered down, only 8 proof points to 102?
Right.
So it'd be good to know what they come off the still at, what they go into the barrel at, and what their average barrel proof is when they pull a barrel. All those things play into it, and I literally know zero about this.
Good God, man, this is so corn forward.
Isn't it?
On the second sip, it's very corn. Like it is almost like you said. When you think about the layers that you get in bourbon, you're almost going to yourself like, why didn't you put more rye in this? Why didn't you do something else with it? Like, what were you thinking?
Because it still has some redeeming qualities,
right? Because it's sweet.
It still has some redeeming qualities,
but it's
too much corn.
It's just too much. It's actually taking what I really liked about the nose and turning it over a little bit on the palate and the finish. So
if this really is like the yeast from in that fermenting tank number 5 from 30 years ago, wow,
that's pretty cool.
Then they just got to change it up, man. Do a different mash bill with that,
right?
Because it still has some redeeming qualities. But
what are your thoughts over there, Sarah?
Yeah,
well, it's probably the first pot still one I've liked.
Yeah, really?
Yeah,
I was actually going to say that.
Yeah, the nosing's really good on it.
I do actually enjoy the nose. I'm not going to lie. If you poured this for me and I hadn't tasted it, I just nosed it.
I think Kenny likes this because he likes sweets.
This has to be the best pot still I've had for sure. That's bourbon.
Yeah, because this is really sweet, so I know you like it.
Yep.
I like some redeeming. I like some qualities, some aspects of it. It's just still too corn forward overall for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I saw on their website they say that their maturation process is more labor intensive, but we think it's worth the extra effort. Our aging process is designed to make the flavors as soft as they are pronounced, leading to a smooth and enjoyable experience.
I got to go.
What's that?
I got to go up there one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go just give it a whirl and
I'd love to know
dive deep.
What they're doing different with that kind of stuff, because this is things that we, obviously had read on their website and things like that. But I think that I don't know. I'm interested to see what you guys think, because I think the future's bright. And I'm not quite sure if they're there yet. That's my candid assessment before we even get to Past Try By. But I'm excited. I'm kind of excited by this.
Yeah.
I don't have, normally by this time, I might have something disparaging to say if I really don't like something. So, yeah. I'm going to try to keep my thoughts under thumb here and surprise both of you gentlemen with what I say.
I think overall,
yep,
it actually is some good flavors, not off-putting. It's a little bit too corn forward, but overall, I think it's good.
So, guys, would you pass, try, or buy on the Glens Creek OCD numero 5?
You don't have OCD, you have obesity. You seen that video?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Oh, my God, that's funny. Holy cow. Oh, man. Well, I don't know, Steven, you should lead us off this time, don't you think?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say about this.
As I was drinking it, it became very sweet, I think. So I think I'm going to be a try plus on it, because I don't know how much I'm going to like it after a while.
Okay.
But I definitely think it's worth trying.
Okay. I think that's strong. Do you want me to ruin it, Kenny, or do you want to take a stab at it? Because I'm ready to ruin it if you want.
No, you can go, man.
So
I'm just taking another sip. So.
I can't be a pass because this is really good for what it is. But I am going to be a try in the opposite direction of you. And here's why. Try minus. Because while I appreciate this, and it might be probably some of the best pot still distillate I've tasted.
Other than Irish.
It's the sweetness is off-putting. The corn sweetness is off-putting to me because I like more to my bourbon. Like when I'm talking about some of the sweetness I like, it's usually a developed sweetness that might go from like cherry to chocolate, or it might involve, cola, vanilla, something that's like, this is almost too one-trick pony for me. And when I say one-trick pony, I mean like nothing elevates through the mid-palate to the finish.
It's so sweet.
There you go. Yeah, it didn't elevate for me through the palate, so I like the nosing. I like the taste. It's not terrible. But the finish fell flat for me, and I kind of like Kenny right now. I want what he was saying before. I want to go up there and visit. I want to find out what else they're doing. And then, is this OCD number 5 because it's the 5th time they've done it, or just because it's what they call it?
No, number 5. They actually found that dormant yeast in the mash tank number 5.
Number 5. Okay, so this is a legit thing. It's not like it's batch 5 of OCD.
No. Yeah,
okay.
so
I got you. Cool.
Yeah, OCD 5 they say is the one, whatever the fan favorite, crowd favorite, distillery favorite.
That is confusing though.
Right. That is absolutely.
Yeah.
So now it falls.
That's a cool story.
It is a cool story, but now it falls on your big shoulders, sir. Kenny's been lifting weights.
Well, I'm going to go different than you all.
Okay, here we go.
I'm going to go try.
Okay. So just middle of the road try. No plus
Middle
or
of the road
minus, just a
try. Middle of the
There
road
you go.
try.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think this is definitely not bad, so it cannot be a pass. It is also $69,
Right.
so it's not bad. And I would say try it because everybody's palate's different, and you might actually enjoy it more than we do.
Right.
I think it has a lot of redeeming qualities, and dead serious. If I were them, just change the mash bill, man.
Right.
Change the mash bill, and I think you got something special because it's very good to be something that's that high corn. It's still pretty good. So,
Well, what's interesting? I want to interrupt for a second, and I think that both of you guys can probably relate to this because both of you have shared screenshots with me in our text messages where you're actually out at stores where I haven't actually been inside of a liquor store for a longer time. I mean, I've been in and out here and there, like I've been to Jackson's a couple of times and stuff like that, but the product's the same. I've not been to Total Wine. I've not been to Liquor Barn. I was there for the raffle, but I didn't browse or anything.
dude, today was crazy.
So today, I know, Kenny, you texted, you said you were at Total Wine and you saw so many SKUs. Steve and I know the one day you were at a Kroger or something else and you sent me a picture. What do you think, like when you mentioned price and you said $69.99 is not bad, the reason why I kind of had a moment where I wanted to pause on that is because I actually thought to myself that this bottle was $50, it might be a buy because at $50 in today's market, I think that's a good thing. Going up to $70, now you're competing with some stuff, even though the prices are all inflated. But tell me what you guys have seen out there because some of the stuff Kenny sent me, I don't want me to lead off, man, was like, ooh. So, yeah, whatever. Go ahead.
Or I can lead real quick.
You can go. I mean,
Man, Old Ezra, 7-year.
Yeah.
Is what, 114 proof?
Uh-huh.
114.99.
Wow.
Old Ezra 7. And I don't want to sound like an old timer, like, oh, back in my
No,
day,
we're
gas
not
was
old-timers.
gas
This
was
is
73 cents a gallon.
4 years ago.
No, not even going back that
Not
far.
4 years ago. 3 years ago.
2.5, 3 years ago, max, it was a $59 bottle.
No, when it debuted, I remember the first time I bought Ezra. The first 7-year-old bottle was $39.99.
Yeah.
In 2020.
I got it from, first time I found it at retail was, we had gone to Buffalo Trace that day. And we stopped at the Kroger up there in Frankfurt. And it was like $54.99 or $59.99. I think it was $54.99.
probably 54, yeah.
And that was just like 3 years ago.
Yep.
$114.99.
Yikes.
very high.
Yeah.
Dude, insane.
And have you been seeing elevated?
Well, I was gonna say when I went to Total Wine,
Yeah.
last time, which is the first time I've been in a while. I was just kind of amazed that things were actually on the shelf
Okay.
that I hadn't seen in a while. Like old Granddad's 114,
Yep.
that was on the shelf. It might have been like in the 30s.
Yeah. That was a $25 bottle all day,
Yeah.
$24.99. Now it's 33, I think, 34.
And there were just like a handful of other like random things like, oh, that's actually on the shelves. You know, I was kind of surprised to see things. So I
Right.
thought that was positive.
That it's positive, and it's also kind of like, you got to look at the shelf then. Like, what did you say, Kenny? There was like 700 bourbons today.
That's what I told him. That's the thing. That's the thing today that I noticed. There were two main things: that Old Ezra price, and then literally, which I think I told Anthony 700. There was probably 400 SKUs of bourbon that did not recognize, do not know. I mean, it's just so much NDP stuff, you know.
Yeah.
There's no way they're all distilling their own stuff, which is something we talked about several episodes, you know, on and off a few episodes ago.
Right. Absolutely.
It just depends on where everything's going to go, you know, with quote unquote bourbon boom, quote unquote, you know, with this and that. But I mean, there's not a story necessarily on a lot of those bottles, or if there is, I haven't seen it or not been conveyed to me. So It's like, what are the bourbon people going to buy? You know, probably something that's more either heritage brand, or they're going to buy something that has like a meaning or story to them, you know.
Right.
And that, man, it was crazy how many SKUs of bourbon that like I knew nothing about, heard nothing about, never seen a label on, knew nothing about them at all.
And that's why we kind of talk about the first segment of our show usually is what the bottle looks like.
Right.
Because even though they're cool bottles, sometimes it's also like, are you going to notice it?
Right.
Kind of thing. Like how's the marketing going for it?
And you know what's funny? You guys will both laugh at me, and I'll take full responsibility for this. Have you guys seen the barrel bourbon that looks like a grenade? It's not barrel like Barrel Craft Spirits. It literally says barrel bourbon on it, and it looks like a grenade, and it's for veterans. It's like a 2-year,
I haven't seen
3-year.
No.
Okay. Well, I saw it, and when this was about a month ago when I was in a liquor store, and I said, "What the heck is that?" And they said, well, it's something that's supposed to benefit veterans, and it's got like this nice packaging. So looked at it, it's like a camo packaging. It's the same shape as like a barrel bottle, like an actual bourbon barrel, but it kind of looks like, I don't know, it kind of looks like a grenade to me. It was $85, and I said, okay.
2 years old?
And it's at age a minimum of 2 years, and I bought it. And I only bought it because like it said it benefited veterans and all this other stuff. We're going to have to review that bottle on the podcast, because I bet you they've sold a lot just based on packaging. And the reason why I brought that up is to let you guys know that there are times where I still do things when we go into stores and I'm like, why did I do that?
I have no idea why I did that.
I don't, yeah.
Should have just passed on that and like sent like $30 and the veterans would have got more money.
Exactly. But the reason, you're right. And here's the thing. I kind of did it because once we review it, if it's terrible and then we find out that they're actually not sending money to veterans, it'll be that much sweeter. So I kind of bought it out of curiosity and packaging and other things, and that kind of underscores what Steven just said. Like, if that hadn't had the packaging it did, if that was a regular bottle that just looked like every other bottle, and they're like, you buy that today, it'll benefit veterans, I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Because of the look of it, I bought it.
Yeah.
And I mean, heartstrings a little bit too, you know, like obviously we support veterans, but yeah, so there you go.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also, let us know your thoughts in the bottom of the comment section. Until next time, keep it moving.